Hello, dears. Welcome to the Indigo Rose Lounge. I'm your host, Alyce Dylan, and we're going to look today at the survival ceiling. It's not as dreary as it sounds, it's quite fun. But we're going to look at dreaming big and why it's important to really let our dreams fly, give them wings. First, we're going to look at it in quite a practical way. There have been whole civilizations which have been conditioned into accepting just survival. The ancient times, ancient tales of people who just, for them it was just enough to make enough food that day to feed their family, or to pick up enough money that day to feed themselves and their families. And they lived on this edge of survival. Communities were smaller and more caring, so people would step in if there was a problem. But really, it was whole civilizations that sat on the edge of survival. And that's what they accepted for themselves. And then slowly people started moving, started breaking through that ceiling. Maybe one person here crossed over, maybe one person there, and they were exceptional. Anybody who raised above their station was exceptional because the conditioning was that this is all I can accept from life. What I saw for my mother and my father is really all I can expect from myself, maybe a little bit better. But we've come to a stage in humanity where that trap seems to have been effectively broken. When you look at the number of teenagers these days that are earning far more than their parents ever imagined, the ceiling has been broken on the capacity of the human experience. There are still a lot of people trapped in that. But really, we can dream bigger. I love the saying that ask for more. The universe is not on a budget. You can ask for anything that you can imagine. And the other saying I love, and it really feels true for me, is that you would not be given a desire without also the capacity to make it happen. Yeah, I don't believe in a cruel universe. I don't believe that we would ever be given desires or dreams without the capacity or the facility to achieve them. And so if you've had a dream, if there's something you truly want in life, I absolutely believe that you will develop, or you have the potential within you to achieve that dream, whatever it is. And a lot of it will be getting out of your own way and recognizing impulses, intuitions, guidance when it shows up. So as an indigo, sensitive, HSP, you can dream big, love your dreams, and then sit in them. Sit in your dreams. Sit in the space of your dream fulfillment. Neville Goddard is a wonderful one to listen to. Some people don't like, he's a very Christian-based chap. Just filter that out for yourself if you don't like that. He's a lovely orator, and he speaks to something that really rings true, which is that in all of the spiritual texts, the guidance is given that when we pray, when we ask the universe for something, the next step is to be quiet and receive guidance on next steps and put those into action, but then trust that our prayer has been answered. So proceed as if the prayer has then been answered. Okay, what is that? It's talking about faith. And what is faith? Well, in Neville Goddard's language, it's living in the wish fulfilled. So once you've sent up the prayer or made the wish, then you proceed as if, yeah, it's done. I'm now there. This is now the reality. And the truth is that when you do that, when you assume the mantle of the person that has achieved what you dream of, your frequency changes and the universe will respond in a different way. That's just the way it works, because frequency responds to frequency, and we know that. So if you recognize, there was a lady who worked for my family when I was growing up, and they always tried to get her to go and get her driver's license. And I sat with her one day and I said, Mabatu, why is it that you won't take these driving lessons? Why won't you? She said, look at me. Just look at me. I said, what? She said, women like me, we don't drive. And I must have been 10 or 11 at the time. And I just thought, wow, she had such an absolute limitation on what she was capable of, what she could do. This was a no-no to her. This was never going to happen. And it never did. But it's an interesting one to bear in mind, or to think around for yourself and think, where is my thinking? Where is my conditioning limited? And where can I stretch a little bit? Where can I make room for what if? What if I'm not limited to this? What if there is a chance that I could create something different? Let's just make room for the possibility that I could maybe shift the needle. Yeah, not 400 degrees maybe, but just a little. What if I could just shift the needle? What if I could have a better life than all of my ancestors before me? What if? And if that were possible, what would I want? A client came to me the other day with a conflict they were having inside the family. And one of the brothers is a big dreamer. He's a big dreamer. He goes for these, he always has these new plans, and he's always dreaming of the next thing he's going to create and what he's going to do. And the other members of the family are all so negative. They all say, oh, he's up to his la la land nonsense again. And she is the indigo in the family, as well as him. He's also an indigo, but she's deeply spiritually perceptive. And she says, but whenever he goes on one of these flights of fancy and he dreams of these impossible things, I want to go with him. I want to not go with him physically, but I love the conversations. I love the discussions about what he's going to create and how he's going to do it and what it's going to be like. I love going down that road with him, even though the family tells me to stay away and not to trust him. And still, she said, it feels good to me to be involved in his conversations. And of course it does. He's the big dreamer. Even if not one of the things that he dreams of ever comes to pass, what he will have given her is room to dream, is room to dream of great things. And in doing so, helping her to figure out what it is she truly wants, what it is she really feels about all these different topics that he leads her through. So don't discount the dreamers. Sometimes dreamers can feel like they're the head in the clouds, but they really make room for others to dream too. So encourage the dreamers. Just, you can get practical and say, but how are you going to do this? Or how are you going to do that? Or, sure, you can do that. But don't ever discourage dreamers from dreaming, because it is their very dreams that can click into the right flow one day, and they can get it all right. But also, as they go down their dreaming path, they take a lot of people with them in opening those people up to possibilities. Well, what if? What if we make room for this? What if this is possible? So, if you have a dreamer that you know of, and I'm not saying invest your life savings with them, please. I'm saying, keep your feet on the ground too. But absolutely, let them dream. Let them take you on their dream. Let them raise your survival ceiling, that perhaps maybe survival is not all that we get to experience in this life. Maybe we've done enough surviving now. Maybe it's time to thrive. And that's part of what the Indigo generation is all about. Generations. Because we know, if you're honest, you've sat there in your life and you've looked around at all the struggle and all the survival and you've said, I know I didn't come here for this. I know I didn't come here to struggle and fight. I know I came here to thrive. I came here to play. I came here to know joy. I know that. I know that's why I came. And the universe never gives us a dream without the capacity to make it happen. If I know that I came here for joy, and my dream is that, my dream is to live a joyous, happy life, then know that I have, you have, within you, the capacity to make that real, and that the universe wants, that source wants, to experience that with you and through you. None of these things are pies in the sky. Unless they're blueberry pies, maybe with custard, because that's yummy. Haha. Dream big, people. Dreams affect the frequency. Frequency we set and hold every day. Go daydreaming. At least a few minutes every day. You're sitting somewhere in a line or you're waiting at a checkout or you would take the moment, take the time to daydream. Take time aside and dream of castles in the air. Dream of beautiful fields and productive environments and whatever takes you to your bliss. Dream. Go there. Be that. And it will feed your soul and it will feed your reality. And the example you set will raise the survival ceiling for everyone that knows you. And you will help to break people out of this survivalist mindset. Because really, humanity needs to get on now. You need to get into some happy, happy, joy, joy, and some yay, and some yummy. All right, people. And remember to go out there and just spread some love, because love is what's most lacking in the world. And spread some love around. Oh.